write the words in your comic. That's what they did. So the back of the book categorizes the images in here as pencil drawings, but the left-hand pages reminded me of etchings. And I know that you've worked with etching before, and so they actually are pencil drawings just that you did to resemble etchings?
Yeah.
And did you do that just because etching takes too damn long?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so then my next question is because...
You're so smart.
Well, I like your work. There's lots of things to look at. So what the interesting thing about for me then is in The Ticking, which was the graphic novel she wrote, previous to this one, she wrote a graphic novel called The Ticking, which does have actual etchings in it, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah. And it's a similar thing in that she's got the beautiful fuzzy pencil drawings, and then that's most of the visuals going on, but then there's etchings that make kind of cameo appearances throughout the book. And so one thing I was interested in is there a relationship between The Ticking and H-Day in terms of the etching, fuzzy drawing thing, and was that preparatory in any way, or just you had worked in that way and you really loved that? I mean, because clearly you needed the left hand and the right hand side to have a very different visual aesthetic to keep them separate.
I think it was just that I learned from The Ticking that I think it was really effective. That for that book, it was the drawings made by the character in the book were etchings, were done in etchings to keep it separate. And I think I just learned that difference was really effective. And so I actually did consider doing etchings for the left-hand side of the book. But no, it was just too much. I mean, it was crazy enough doing etchings the first time around for The Ticking because I'd go in and pull one. I would make an addition. I would just make one thing. And it's kind of stupid in a way. When you make this plate and...
Because the whole purpose is mass production.
Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah. It was a metal plate.
So are the images in H-Day the actual size of the original drawings, or have they been made larger or smaller?
They're larger than the drawings.
Okay. So the fuzzy pencils were smaller than that?
Yeah, the fuzzy pencil drawings are like... 2.5 inches maybe wide, so probably half of that.
Yeah. Okay. And same and tall, were they 2.5 by 2.5?
Like a 2.5 or 3 inch tall.
Okay. That actually makes me feel better because if you look at these, they're meticulous and they are obsessive, and the idea of I can't imagine a more time-consuming way to draw, quite frankly. And so the idea that these are smaller actually make me feel a little better for you.
That doesn't make it less.
Well, that's
it's actually more. It's stupid, really, how small they are.
Well, then why do you work so small? Do you think? Like, what makes you do that?
I think I'm going to stop doing it, actually. But intimacy, I think. I don't know. I used to work really small because doing comics, which like that big. Mm-hmm. Everybody else, one time I did something for DC, and I got they sent me these pages in the mail that I was supposed to work on, and they were like that big, and I realized other cartoonists draw that big because I was drawing like the size of the actual page. Everything I did was 100%, right? And that's why I drew that size, because I was drawing the size of the actual page, which is kind of stupid. But then that's just how I did it after that. That's
habit.
Yeah, habit.
The pencil work, it's incredibly nuanced and it's gorgeous, and for me, whenever I look at it, it immediately puts me in a sort of dream space. It just captures, when I'm in a dream, that's what stuff looks like. It's kind of fuzzy and ill-defined, and so I think it's a wonderful technique, but I know that it's incredibly painstaking and time-consuming, and I know at one point a few years back, you actually had talked about abandoning it, because I think you were having real trouble with your wrist or your hand.
Yeah, I've ended up with quite a few times, like a carpal tunnel kind of thing.
Yeah, and
repetitive stress.
You always come back to it. I mean, I think you adopted it maybe full-time with the Soap Lady, but you've been tinkering with it in other stuff. It's prefigured, I think, in the way you stipple with ink in your early comics.
I think
you're
to
always
stipple.
Yeah.
And
then
that's crazier, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because they had to be equidistant. Because I had to make sure that no two were touching or anything. Wow. So this is a little more sloppy.
Okay, fair enough. So I guess my question is, and now a lot of people do this. I think you're one of the few people who are, this is the predominant way that you draw. So I guess my question is, how did you come to this particular technique, and what about it has made it become the primary way that you choose to draw?
I used to try to get, with pen and ink, I used to love pen and ink. I used to try to get like a texture that was soft, which is really hard with pen and ink. So you do a lot of this cross-hatching, lots of cross-hatching, to try to get it to be like textural, touchy, soft. And then I did I was trying to do a kid's book with Prismacolor pencils, and that was really soft. And then I was going to be in Comics 2000, which was that giant 2,000-page book for the French Publisher Association, and I know my accent's really non-existent, but for that I mixed the two together. So I used the Prismacolor color pencil instead of using ink, and I could get this really soft texture. It was amazing. It was like easy, and that's it. I mean, I started to do, and then I never stopped after that. Now I can't not do it because nothing's soft enough. And now I'm working on really stupid paper. It's this vellum stuff, which is like the most impossible paper to work on because you can't put two on top of each other because they slide. The one slides off the other one. So it makes it even,
So your masochistic streak just keeps expressing itself in more elaborate ways.
Do whatever is the most difficult to do.
Cool.
That's what you should do.
I'm going to ask you two more things, and then I'm going to open it up to these guys. Words are not here in this book, and this is, you used to work, your conventional comics work, it was the traditional relationship between image and word, and then words, I feel, have been dropping more and more out of your work, and so this is the first one we get with no words at all. And did you know when you were starting it that there weren't going to be words? And how do you feel working wordless? Was this a one-off, do you think, or are you now wordless girl?
Well, we had that conversation on the phone that one day.
I actually don't remember.
Where I was freaking out, and I was like, I hate words, that's it, I'm done. Words are ridiculous, forget it. I started out hating exposition, like anything that was, anything exposition was, I just detested it. I just decided I was allergic to it. And then after that it was anything that was even narrative with words. Like, it didn't even have to be over-explanatory or anything. Anything that had words in it at all, I hated it. So then it seemed like the only solution was just get rid of them.
And why do you hate
I don't know.
And I guess this ties into my last question, which has to do with your relationship to narrative, which has also changed a lot over the years. Initial comics work, there's stories that are conventional narrative stories, like that you can think of. And for me, that sort of culminated with Corny's Fetish, which for me was sort of the strongest conventional narrative you've done in comics form, and kind of the last one that you then did. I felt from that point on you were pulling away more and more from conventional narrative. You use it in your work for children because you have to. Right. Well, at least, yeah. But yeah, in narrative elements in your own work have grown increasingly associative, and I think it's possible to find narrative elements, but we're not being told a story in the most common sense of the word. And I know that before you started H Day, you had struggled with a narrative project that tortured you and made you extremely unhappy. So I guess my question is, to what degree have you ever felt at home in conventional narrative, or do you think your native artist brain has just always been a non-narrative brain? And, how does it feel to be that kind of artist in a world that prizes conventional narrative so highly?
I think I actually am. I do like to tell stories. I think the problem is that it's like bizarro world where it's like I want to tell a story and then I hate it. So it's this struggle. Like I can't, because I've also tried to do just sort of standalone things. One image and it's really fun and everything, but I don't get in it. There's no payoff for me. I have to have a thing that comes around and is a story. So I feel like I have this internal argument about doing something that's too contrived. And I remember once on the phone you even said, everything is, all storytelling is contrived. And it's like, yeah, I know, but I hate it. I don't want to. So that's the thing. It's this constant fight about, I can't not tell a story, and yet I really don't want to tell a story. And people fill in the blanks and make a story out of stuff. They just do. They always do.
So now it's your turn. Ask questions, ask away, because this is a rare chance that you have. One person always has to be the first, and it's very scary. Great. Go.
So, in a book like this, where there's so little written word and so much room for the audience to impose their own ideas, have you heard what other people made of it, and has there been anything especially interesting or exciting that people made of it?
I haven't heard that much yet. I mean, people... I've heard a few things, and they seem completely off in some other place, which is fine with me. I'm actually kind of, with this one especially, I kind of want people to just, if they find a story that really works for them, I know that sounds really lame, but it's like, if somebody finds a story that works for them, that's fantastic. It's part of it is the person coming to it with what they have. So, I can't think of anything specific, no, but I know it hasn't been what I think of it yet.
Does it really feel like your head is I don't know, I guess when I thought about migraines, I don't know whether my son calls up or talk very much, I know he's had some horrible ones, but does it really feel like your head is all cottony and stuff?
Well, I think it's mostly that, to me, it seems like the entire universe is your head, because nothing else can get through. So it's kind of like, somebody can be talking to you, and you're maybe making, gesturing like you're there and everything, but everything is just that thing, that pain. So, yeah, in a way, it doesn't actually, feel like it's huge or anything, but it becomes the center of everything. It's unlike pain in your leg or pain in your arm. That's the thing, or somewhere else. You can't really separate yourself from it. It's everything. And it's very different from another kind of headache. That's another thing that's kind of strange.
Colin said, don't read a few pages of it when you first started looking at the
Yeah, I did hear that. Yeah, that people who have migraines start to read it and have to stop because it's too on the money in some ways.
I wonder if it's ever given anyone a migraine.
I hope not.
I have one more question for you, so you have this painstaking process that takes you forever. It gives you carpal tunnel. Where is the joy for you? Is there joy for you? I think there is. I think the reason, this is why you live. And
yeah.
So, yeah.
Because it's I think it's a lot of things. I think it's people who like to drink a lot, or and they have hangovers all the time and they feel like crap, but they still drink a lot. I really like that when I'm drawing, I kind of, the best thing is when you're drawing and you're gone, and then it's the phone rings and you're back, and you realize that this amount of time there was this kind of weird, one thing that was happening, and that's the best thing. Going to this place in the paper or something.
Is your particular process conducive to that? Is doing the fuzzy pencil work part of?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's part of your transport.
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely. It's part of it is the actual process, the feeling of the paper and stuff.
So the softness is helpful. The reason you're maybe seeking